Most people believe cash is the safest asset they can own. After all, if the stock market crashes, their cash is still there. If your bank account fails, your cash is still there. If crypto gets cut in half, your cash is still there. But what if the biggest risk isn't losing cash? What if the biggest risk is watching cash slowly lose value while appearing completely safe? That's the problem many people never see. A dollar bill can sit in your wallet for 10 years looking exactly the same. But what that dollar can buy changes dramatically over time. I'm David Ray Newby, author of 4 published books that has consulted with 39 billionaires one-on-one. And today I'm going to help you discover 7 assets that are better to hold than cash. History shows that currencies come and go. Purchasing power rises and falls. Governments print money. Inflation reduces buying power. So while cash plays an important role, there are several assets that may offer advantages cash simply cannot. Today we're going to look at 7 of them, moving from traditional hard assets all the way to digital alternatives. And by the end, you'll understand why many wealthy individuals diversify beyond cash and into assets that can potentially preserve value in different economic environments. Let's start with one of the oldest stories of wealth in human history. Number 1, physical gold and silver. Gold and silver have been trusted stores of value for over 5,000 years. Empires have risen and fallen. Currencies have come and gone. Political systems have changed. Yet gold and silver have remained valuable across generations. Think about that for a moment. Most financial assets are relatively new. Many currencies don't survive even for a century. But precious metals have maintained purchasing power for almost 6,000 years. One reason for that is scarcity. You can't simply create gold with a printing press. You can't vote more silver into existence. The supply increases slowly and requires real effort to produce, as mining precious metals is hard, dangerous, and requires very specialized skill. When I spoke to Robert Kiyosaki, he told me that's why gold is the first of the 3 Gs he recommends holding. That scarcity has historically helped precious metals act as a hedge against currency debasement, as all currencies have lost more than 25% of their value globally since the COVID lockdowns. Another advantage is that physical metals carry no counterparty risk. A stock depends on a company. A bond depends on an issuer. A bank account depends on a bank. Physical gold and silver in your possession belong to you directly. They're tangible. They're recognized worldwide. They're highly liquid in most markets. And they have a long history of helping people preserve purchasing power during periods of economic uncertainty. This doesn't mean that gold and silver are perfect. They don't generate income. They require storage. Their prices fluctuate. But for savvy investors, they represent an important foundation of wealth preservation. Ironically, however, the next asset on our list is something most people don't expect to see: cash itself. Item number 2, physical cash. Now wait a second, isn't this video called 7 assets better than cash? Yes, it is. But here's the important distinction. Physical cash can still be superior to cash in the bank in certain situations. Many people keep all their money inside financial institutions. Most of the time, that's perfectly fine. But emergencies do happen. Power outages happen. Banking disruptions happen. Natural disasters happen. Temporary system failures happen. Physical cash provides immediate liquidity during emergencies and allows transactions when technology fails. For example, when the power grid went down in 2004 for 10 days from New York to Michigan, people could only use cash to buy things. Cash creates flexibility during short-term disruptions. Think of it as financial preparedness. Not an investment, not a growth asset, not a wealth-building asset, but a practical asset. The key is understanding its role. Cash is excellent for liquidity. It's not always excellent for long-term purchasing power preservation. That's why many sophisticated investors maintain emergency cash reserves while simultaneously holding other assets designed to preserve value over long periods. Now let's move into a category that combines scarcity with passion. Number 3, collectible cars, art, and wine. Some of the world's wealthiest individuals allocate portions of their portfolios to collectibles. Why is that? Because truly rare assets can become increasingly valuable over time. Consider classic automobiles. No one is making more original examples of historically significant vehicles. Supply is fixed. Demand can grow. The same principle applies to fine art. A masterpiece by a renowned artist becomes increasingly scarce as collectors compete for ownership. Fine wine introduces another interesting dynamic. Unlike many assets, supply can actually shrink as bottles are consumed. As years pass, fewer bottles remain available. This scarcity can potentially increase value. Of course, collectibles require expertise. You need to understand authenticity. You need to understand market demand. You need proper storage and maintenance. And liquidity can sometimes be lower than traditional investments. But collectibles offer something unique. They're assets people enjoy owning. They're tangible. They're scarce. And in some cases, they've delivered impressive long-term appreciation. Next, let's look at one of the most overlooked wealth preservation assets available. Number 4, land you can farm. Mark Twain famously said, "Buy land, they're not making any more of it." Whether he actually said it or not, the principle remains powerful. Productive farmland offers something many assets cannot: utility. People always need food. That simple reality creates a unique investment thesis. Productive land can potentially generate income. It can provide self-sufficiency. It can benefit from rising agricultural demand. And unlike many financial assets, productive land serves a real-world purpose regardless of market sentiment. Think about the difference. A stock certificate is valuable because people agree that it's valuable. Productive farmland creates actual output. It grows crops. It supports livestock. It produces resources. That's an entirely different category of asset. Many wealthy families have held agricultural land for generations because it combines utility, scarcity, and potential income production. Land is not easily moved. It requires management, and values fluctuate based on local conditions. But productive land remains one of the most tangible forms of wealth preservation available to you today. Now let's discuss a category focused less on investing and more on preparedness. Number 5, guns and grub. When people hear wealth preservation, they usually think about financial assets. But another perspective focuses on resilience. Guns and grub represent preparedness assets. Food, water, essential supplies, and personal security resources can provide peace of mind during uncertain periods. The underlying idea is simple. Financial wealth matters, but access to necessities matters too. Preparedness advocates often focus on maintaining supplies that support independence during disruptions. Food, water, and shelter are the basic requirements for life, and having some guns helps you protect your gold and grub in the case of an extreme emergency. That's why they're the 3 Gs Robert Kiyosaki recommends to hold: guns, gold, and grub. Whether it's emergency food storage, basic necessities, or self-reliance resources, these assets serve a different purpose than traditional investments. They aren't primarily designed to generate returns. They're designed to reduce vulnerability. They're designed to increase resilience. They're designed to provide options. And for some individuals, that utility has significant value. Next, let's move on to one of the most debated asset classes of the modern era. Number 6, cryptocurrency. Few assets have generated as much excitement, skepticism, and debate as cryptocurrency in the last decade. Supporters view crypto as a revolutionary financial technology. Critics see volatility and uncertainty. Regardless of where you stand, crypto introduced a powerful concept: digital scarcity. For the first time, technology made it possible to create digitally scarce assets that can be transferred globally without traditional intermediaries like banks. That innovation attracted investors seeking alternatives to conventional financial systems. Cryptocurrencies offer portability, accessibility, global transferability. And in some cases, like Bitcoin or RWA or real world asset tokens backed by a certain amount of gold, crypto offers limited supply structures. However, they also introduce significant volatility. Prices can rise dramatically. Prices can fall dramatically. Regulatory environments evolve. Technology continues to develop. Because of these factors, many investors who allocate to crypto view it as one component of a broader diversification strategy rather than a complete replacement for traditional assets. I personally have mined Bitcoin since 2014 and paid my bills with crypto since 2016, and I think it's wise to hold some Bitcoin, some Ethereum, and other major crypto coins for potential gains, and then hold some digital dollars like Tether, which are great for cash you hold outside banks that are easy to spend internationally, unlike physical cash. And that brings us to our final asset, one that attempts to bridge the gap between ancient stores of value and modern technology. Number 7, digital gold and silver. Digital gold and silver seek to combine the historical strengths of precious metals with the convenience of modern technology. The concept is straightforward. Instead of physically storing metal yourself, ownership can be represented digitally while remaining linked to underlying precious metals. Supporters see several potential advantages: greater accessibility, easier transactions, simplified storage. For example, if you have $1 million in the bank and want to diversify 700,000 of that into physical cash, physical gold and silver, cryptocurrency, and digital gold, you may end up buying $200,000 of gold. If you put all 200,000 of that allocation into physical gold and want to buy something for $100,000 with it, it is challenging to move the physical metals safely and for the seller to verify the gold's authenticity. By contrast, if you buy something with $100,000 of digital gold, the challenges of safe transportation and seller verification are fully addressed. That's why in this scenario of buying $200,000 of gold, I recommend buy $100,000 of physical gold and $100,000 of digital gold. Digital gold and silver give you the ability to combine traditional hard asset value with modern financial infrastructure. In many ways, digital precious metals attempt to solve some of the challenges associated with physical ownership while preserving exposure to gold and silver themselves. This approach continues to attract interest from investors looking for alternatives that bridge traditional and digital finance. As there is only enough physical gold above ground for each investor to hold 2 ounces of it, the key to digital gold becoming more mainstream is to quickly expand the amount of digital gold investors can buy, backed by securities compliant in-ground gold. Quickly expanding the amount of digital gold and silver available to investors represents an interesting opportunity to help people preserve their wealth and expand economic wealth globally. Summarizing the benefits of what we covered today, let's look at the key takeaways. The question isn't which asset is best. The question is which problem you're trying to solve. Physical gold and silver may help preserve purchasing power. They have a 6,000-year track record of doing that. Physical cash may provide emergency liquidity. Collectibles may benefit from scarcity. Farmland may provide productivity and utility. Preparedness assets may increase resilience and safety. Crypto may offer digital scarcity. Digital precious metals may combine traditional wealth preservation with technology. Each serves a different purpose. The biggest mistake investors make is searching for a single perfect asset. History suggests that diversification often provides greater resilience than concentration. Different assets perform differently under different conditions. That's why King Solomon, the richest man that ever lived, worth $8 trillion in today's money, recommends that you diversify your money into 7 different things to be prepared for multiple possible futures. Become a more sophisticated investor and follow his wise advice to diversify your holdings. If you found this discussion valuable and want to discover specific strategies I learned from consulting with 139 billionaires that you can implement in the next 2 weeks on your own in under 6 hours, go now to goldpluscoin.com/preserve your wealth. The link should be in the description. The goal isn't simply accumulating assets. The goal is preserving purchasing power, creating resilience, and positioning yourself to navigate uncertainty with confidence. The people who thrive during changing economic environments are often those who prepare before everyone else recognizes the need. So take some time to evaluate your own situation. Ask yourself, if your bank failed or the electric grid went down, how long would you be able to provide necessities for yourself and your family? Are you over-relying on cash in the bank? Or are you building a diversified collection of assets designed to serve different purposes? Because in the end, wealth preservation is not about predicting the future. It's about being prepared for it.